My mother stood in the waiting room of the veterinary clinic I opened with my own 2 hands and said, loud enough for 3 clients and my receptionist to hear, "Well, now that you're finally successful, sweetie, we're putting Jordan on the payroll. Family helps family." I was holding a chart for a golden retriever with lymphoma. My hands didn't even shake. I just looked at her and said, "No." That was the first time in 32 years I ever told her no to her face. She laughed, like I was joking. When I didn't laugh back, her mouth pinched the way it used to when I was 7 and asked why Jordan got a dirt bike and I got a second-hand violin with 2 broken strings. Jordan was leaning against my brand new reception desk, arms crossed, smirking in the same hoodie he'd been wearing since 2019. "Come on, Em. I need health insurance, and like $40K to start." "You've got it." I didn't answer him. I finished writing the chemo dose, handed the chart to my tech, and walked to the front door. Held it open. "Leave both of you." That was 6 months ago. You need to understand how long I waited to say that word. Levi grew up in a small town 2 hours outside Raleigh. Dad owned a failing hardware store. Mom did taxes out of the dining room 3 months a year. Money was always tight, which meant it was never spent on me. Jordan is 3 years younger and, according to my parents, the sun rose and set on his ginger hair and crooked grin. When he was 5 and I was 8, he wanted a puppy for Christmas. Santa brought him a purebred golden retriever. I asked for a stethoscope because I'd already decided I was going to be a veterinarian. Santa left me a drugstore plastic one, and a note that said maybe when you're older. I was older at 8 than Jordan has ever been. At 10, I started mowing lawns after school to save for college. By 12 I was grooming dogs on weekends at the clinic in town. Jordan spent his summers on a jet ski my uncle gifted him because the boy needs to be a boy. Every report card I brought home with straight A's got a nod, and that's nice. Honey, Jordan brought home a report with 4 F's and a note about fighting. And Dad took him for milkshakes, because school's not for everyone. I won the state science fair at 14 with a project on antibiotic resistance in canine otitis. Prize money was $2,000. Mom used it for Jordan's travel baseball fees. When I cried, she told me to stop being selfish. Your brother has talent. I tested out of high school at 16, started community college, transferred to NC State Pre-Vet, worked 35 hours a week at a 24-hour emergency clinic. Slept in my car between shifts, graduated top of my class, 0 help. Vet school at $35,000 a year. I took the loans, every single one. Lived on pasta and the free coffee at the library. Called home exactly twice in 4 years. Both times Mom answered and immediately handed the phone to Jordan so he could ask for money for a new gaming PC. I graduated with honors. Passed boards first try. Did a 1-year internship in orthopedic surgery. Then a 3-year residency in small animal internal medicine. Meanwhile, Jordan had cycled through community college, barber school, real estate license, CrossFit coaching certification, and at last count 3 DUIs and 1 very public breakup on TikTok. Live. I paid off my loans in 7 years by working locum shifts, publishing papers, teaching CE courses on weekends. At 31, I bought a rundown foreclosure with good bones in Durham. Gutted it myself on nights and weekends. Turned it into Willow Creek Veterinary Specialty Center. Oncology, cardiology, rehab, dentistry, 24-hour ER. My name on the lease. My name on the $15 million business loan. My name on every single piece of equipment. Opening day we had a line out the door. I cried in the supply room because the first patient was a golden retriever with lymphoma and I thought about the puppy Jordan got and never took care of. I hired 12 employees. Paid them above market because I remember scrubbing maggots out of ears for $9 an hour. Gave full benefits on day 1. Put fresh flowers in the lobby every Monday because animals deserve beauty too. Business exploded. We were profitable in 18 months. I paid myself a real salary for the first time in my adult life. Bought a little house with a fenced yard and adopted a senior beagle nobody wanted. Then Mom started calling. Again. First it was, "We're so proud." Then it was, "Jordan's really struggling." Then it was, "He's always loved animals. Maybe he could shadow you." Then it was, "We're family. Emily. Blood looks after blood." I should have seen the final play coming. Dad's hardware store finally went under. They were looking at losing the house they'd lived in for 35 years. Instead of downsizing, like normal humans, they decided my clinic was their retirement plan. They showed up unannounced that day with a manila folder. Inside, a business plan written in Comic Sans. Jordan would be practice manager. Starting salary $120K plus benefits plus a company car. Mom would do community outreach. Dad would oversee maintenance. All three of them on my payroll, my insurance, my everything. When I said no, Mom played the card she'd been holding for 32 years. If you don't help us, we'll have to tell everyone you abandoned your family, that you're ashamed of where you came from. That fancy clinic won't look so good when people find out what a cold daughter you are. Jordan grinned like he'd already won. I looked at my receptionist, sweet 22-year-old Maya, who'd grown up in foster care and still showed up smiling every single day. Looked at my head tech Sarah, who was finally paying off her own student loans because I paid her what she was worth. Looked at the mural on the wall I'd commissioned from a local artist that said every animal deserves a champion. Then I looked back at my mother. Say whatever you want, I told her. I have receipts. I did every transfer I'd ever sent them from age 18 to 28. Every Venmo for Jordan's rent, tires, court fees, rehab he never finished. Every plane ticket when they couldn't afford to come to my graduation but flew to Vegas for Jordan's 21st. Total, $312,681. Not loans, gifts, because that's what a good daughter does. Except North Carolina law says gifts over $16,000 a year can be clawed back under certain fraud statutes if there was undue influence or expectation of continued support. I made one phone call to the forensic accountant who lectures with me at conferences. She owed me a favor. 3 weeks later the demand letter went out. Repay $287,000 within 30 days or face civil suit for financial exploitation of a child because some of those transfers happened when I was still in vet school and legally a dependent in the eyes of the court. Mom laughed when she got it, forwarded it to Jordan with crying emojis. They lawyered up with some guy who advertises on bus benches. Discovery was beautiful. Bank records, text messages where Mom referred to me as the cash cow. Jordan's Instagram stories bragging about big sis funding the lifestyle. The email chain where Dad told the realtor they didn't need to worry about selling the house because our daughter's loaded now. The judge granted summary judgment in my favor in under 10 minutes. Garnishment started the next week. They lost the house, moved into a 2-bedroom apartment above a laundromat. Jordan's truck got repossessed in the parking lot of a strip club. Someone filmed it. Of course. I never posted a thing. Didn't have to. The local news did a puff piece on the new specialty clinic saving animals across the state. Commenters recognized my last name. Someone linked the court filings. The article now has 4,200 comments and counting. Last I heard, Jordan is cutting grass again. Mom works the window at Bojangles. Dad sold his fishing gear on Facebook Marketplace. My clinic just broke ground on a second location. We're adding a low-cost wing for rescues and seniors on fixed incomes. Named it the Maya Wing, after my receptionist who never had a family either. I still work 80 hours a week because I love it. Still cry sometimes when I diagnose cancer in Goldens. Still send flowers every Monday. But now when I lock up at night, I know every brick, every ultrasound probe, every paycheck I sign is mine. No one can walk in and demand a piece. Just because we share DNA. Sometimes animals teach you the clearest lessons. Loyalty isn't owed to those who hurt you. Pack isn't always blood. I adopted another dog last month, a 12-year-old lab whose family surrendered her when they moved. Named her Justice. She sleeps on my bed every night like she's always belonged there. I finally do too. If you're the one who built everything alone while they cheered for someone else, if you ever paid their bills with your tears, if you're scared to say no because family is supposed to be forever, hear me. Forever has conditions, and you are allowed to rewrite them. I'm sipping tea on the back porch of my little house in Durham this morning, watching Justice chase squirrels she'll never catch, and I have never felt richer. Tell me in the comments where you're watching from. And if you've ever had to choose yourself over the family that never chose you, you're not selfish. You're finally free. I'll see you in the next one.